Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello everyone, welcome to Varese, Italy, the final day of competition here at the A5 Arena. I'm Ted Barton along with Mark Hanreddy. Up first will be the men's free program. Mark, we saw some good skating and, you know, the top 6, I believe, are in the 70s, so that's a good standard to start with.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think I'm really conscious that we had perhaps a higher overall standard maybe than last week in Ankara, but every man competing here has their own agenda, their own goals, their own ambitions, and so we're just sending all our positive wishes that everybody achieves personal bests in this event.
And as we saw yesterday in the free dance, so much stronger than the rhythm dance, so what can we expect here? Looking forward to it. 20 skaters, 17 nations. The men's free program starts right now. Thank them for the time that they spend away from family and from work and from their holidays. We thank them for everything they do for this sport. It's a beautiful arena here, Mark.
Oh, it's such a really, really beautiful arena, and we were just talking when we were watching some of the practices earlier today that we are sure that there would be many maybe more experienced senior skaters who would relish the chance to skate in this bright light facility. It just gives a very positive energy in this building.
As I said, it reminded me a little bit of Oberstdorf. It was always a favorite, it still is, a favorite place for people to visit. It's the little town with the, you know, the beautiful shop, the cows, and the rink on the hill. It's similar to that feel like, yes, it's competition, but it's also a wonderful family experience.
And obviously, as we open this men's free skate, there are skaters with aspirations of going on to become Olympians. There are some that are here with their families. There are some that are being able to relish the experience of being in a different country, different culture, different food, and able to really embrace the experience and the memories. And you really hope that that's the case for all the skaters, because it's filled with responsibility and pressure, and we cannot deny that it's physically pretty demanding what has to be done. All of the men competing today will have had a practice much earlier today, so it's not like it's a holiday coming to Italy when you're having to do the job in hand.
Yeah, but except for, we use the word job. I think it's their passion. I think they love this. So I think that, yes, it's physical and it's stressful because they want to do so well, but they're young. Yeah. They love this, and you remember that when you skated for the pure love of it, and it was so exciting to go to this competition, that competition. So I think it's I think when you're senior, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more draining. The stress is maybe a little higher.
And I suppose as we see Fedir Babenko just working his triple lutz, to me it was lovely to see some of the skaters it hasn't always been the case that we share the same hotel as the athletes and
that's true.
and the coaches. But last night, as we'd finished the event and left very late, we were able to see some of the ice dancers, and it was the Swedish skater Axel Mackenzie's 21st birthday, and there were a whole load of other skaters from different nations celebrating with him. And I find it heartwarming to see that there was, friendships being formed on the Junior Grand Prix between the skaters that will hopefully last.
That was pretty cool.
lifetime.
As other athletes came in, they lengthened the tables so
Yes.
they could all sit around and celebrate, and that was special. And that's what the Junior Grand Prix is all about, that's for sure. Okay, do you have any questions? You're sounding a little slow right now. Like, usually I've got the speedboat Mark here, but
Yeah, I think
you're pacing yourself, right?
Well, maybe it's because I didn't go to the gym this morning. Maybe I've not yet warmed up sufficiently.
No,
but anyway.
no, that's not the excuse, because I never do that, so I'm okay. Right now.
You're fine.
Yeah.
So we have had some amazing questions yesterday, and again, opportunity at the start of this long and exciting day of competition. We would love to hear from skaters, from coaches, and from fans of the sport. We're really interested to hear your opinions. We're interested to hear what your thoughts are on skating this season.
And where you are watching from. How did you find it? And, are you a skater, or are you just a fan?
And some of the
Not just a fan, I mean a fan.
yeah, we really wish to have an increased fan awareness, and that's part of the ISU Vision 2030, the growth, and to engage more with the skating community beyond. So questions coming in. Actually, there are some that have come in, Ted, that are replies to the ISU social media on Instagram, and the very nice thing said, it's my 4th year watching figure skating, and your voices have become a big part of that. Thank you a lot. And I can, on the back of that, say thank you for that nice comment. But also, as I walked in with you, Ted, today, we're seeing coaches here that have photos of time with you when they themselves competed on the Junior Grand Prix or other events.
And also the team yesterday, the medal winners from France.
Ombre Perez, Giannassini.
And she came to me and she said, I was a little girl. I was a little girl listening to your voice, and she said to herself, one day he'll speak when I'm skating. And she had this big smile on her face. She was so kind. But it does age you pretty quickly.
I saw a picture of you today, Ted, with a skater from a few years ago, and you've not aged. You're doing well. Doing so well that you're willing to
You're so
embrace.
nice, but you're such a liar.
Well, your youthful energy is good enough to embrace TikToks and such like.
Soon coming.
And indeed, that is an opportunity for us to say to those watching now, be excited or warned that the Instagram social media of the ISU may see Ted Barton TikToking.
No. Warned.
Warned. Forewarned. Other things coming in. Question coming in about will we be commentating at the Olympic Games? That's not something that we've been asked, but we will certainly be watching.
The Olympic Games are handled by the organizing, or the Olympic, I guess the IOC and the Olympic organizing committee, the local one. So they generally use the same people that they don't have to look for or whatever. There's so many people involved in those games that if you are a gamer, that you always do the same thing over the decades, so just hire the same person, right? So that's what will happen there, and so we'll be at home watching and looking forward
maybe
to
we will be sending in questions as avid fans and viewers, because certainly I'll be honest here, Ted, in regards to the Olympic Games, I'll be honest. Honesty is the best policy, but it's shameful when I'm about to tell you what I'm about to tell you, because I myself didn't compete in the Olympic Games, and yet it was obviously something that I aspired to do for my whole skating career. So I actually really struggled to watch the 2, maybe 3 Olympic cycles after I retired from competition, because it was hard for me to watch. I was like, I really wish that I had been there.
Yeah.
But I can confidently state now that in the 2026 Olympic Games, because I know that there's no hope in anything that I'd be competing, I will be very eager to see the skating and really keen to hopefully see the athletes that we've covered for years do well.
I had the same thing. I had broken a foot, so I couldn't go to the games in the 70s. But I had since worked at 5 games, and so in variety of capacities, and they are special. No matter which way you go, it doesn't matter if you go as an athlete or as a coach or as a worker or part of the local organizing committee, you can't explain what they're about until you're in that building, and it is really exciting. However, walking out of there, you say, well, okay, now we move on to the rest of life. So, they're great, they're wonderful, they're not all of life, but they're golden.
I actually skated in the closing ceremony of the London
Well, there you go.
Paralympics. Yeah, I don't know if I've shown you those pictures, but I skated while Coldplay sang. It was very cool.
That's cool.
Anyway.
Okay, we've covered that time, and now we are ready to go. The men's event here. Day number 3, final day of competition, as we see our first skater representing Ukraine, 15-year-old Fedir Babenko. He was 8th last week in Ankara. This is his first junior Grand Prix season.
And Fedir had a bit of a nightmare in the short program, and that's why he finds himself in 23rd place. But such an entertainer, captivating performer.
It was just two lovers sitting in the car, listening to Blonde, falling for each other. Pink and orange skies, feeling super childish. No Donald Glover. Missed call from my mother. Like, where you at tonight? Got no alibi. I was all alone with the love of my life. She's got glitter for skin, my radiant beam in the night. I don't need no light to
You know, Mark, there's something to be said for, you know, we can look at the technical side. We will look at throughout the program. But this young man skates free. Like, he loves that music, and he sails to it. And there's no inhibition, really, in many ways. Yes, there'll be more choreography as he grows older, and there'll be more of that. But he has a passion for the sport, and you can see it in the skating. Now, we have to analyze it as a sport. Fair enough. But there's a freedom in this young man. That was nice to see.
Completely agree, and I think Fedir Babenko, as we see, he has a self-confidence that I really appreciate. Shame here, he struggled with that on the warm-up, the triple loops, and then managing though to get the second one. I'd actually have to say, in terms of technique moving forward for Fedir, I really like the jump. Like triple loop was good, triple loops was good. I think based on the short program and what we saw last week, he's just got to continue to work on the jump combinations, being able to try to keep length and flow through any toe loop combos. I think that's probably the area he needs to improve on.
The mechanics are there. He's still growing, so you can see a little bit of wobble here and there with the body, but he's got great mechanics on the takeoff, good rotation position. Check out is a little bit slow at times. Oh, that was lovely. But he's got a lot of really nice things. The best thing though is his passion and freedom to fly.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know how Fedir Babenko, found his coach Natalia Vorobyova or found ice skating, but I just think that he seems like such a great character for skating. That smile has been on his face this week as well as last.
Yes.
Last week he had an amazing result. He had 108 points in his free skate last week. He had this amazing result. He was 7th in the free. This week it's been harder, perhaps because of last week.
Maybe
he's still smiling.
Pressure. He has a real smile that says, "Gosh, I love this." No matter what the result is, I love it. And that's sincere, and that is a great part of a skater's character and performance.
And now I'm excited to see. We saw him last week. We have a connection with this athlete. We've seen this again this week, and enjoy seeing him. Now I think, I can't wait to hopefully see Fedir Babenko coming out next year. His coach looks amused by him too. He's got coach recognizing probably that he's a good energy guy.
She can see the joy in him.
Oh, look at that!
And how nice is that? That they have such great respect for each other, and she's probably a mom and has kids, and she can see that in the youthfulness in him.
And I don't know the coach connection, but I also see that there's Marek Sedlmeyer and Yukiko Sedlmeyer on the coaching staff as well. So there are others that are behind this student.
Yeah.
And they'll be watching now, and they have, I'm sure, so much pride for what they've played, what part they've played too.
With all these skaters, there's not one individual. There's many that are working on ice and off ice, and probably costume design, and as you get a little older and into the senior categories, and the team just continues to grow. Let's take a look at the free program results. For Fedir Babenko from Ukraine, 93.05. He is the first skater out in the competition with a total event score of 137.41.
And he's currently in first place.
Yeah, he says, okay, it is what it is. That's what he did. Yeah,
polite.
For him. Yeah, very, very nice. Very nice. There is our next skater, 19-year-old Hyunseo Park, third Junior Grand Prix season, had a 9th and 11th last season of the Junior Grand Prix. He's currently in 22nd place.
And Hyunseo found himself as the final competitor in the short program, had a long time to wait and struggled then in the short program, but a skater certainly capable of pushing back up toward the top 10 as he skates to the Tron Legacy by Daft Punk.
a digital frontier. What did they look like? Ships, motorcycles. Were the circuits like freeways? I kept dreaming of a world I thought I'd never see. And then, one day, I got in.
Hyunseo Park from Korea finishes his free skate, and watching this, Ted, it reminds me of what I felt when I was watching Jean Médard from France a couple of weeks ago, another skater who's in their final age-eligible junior season, and at a junction in his career to either move forward into the senior ranks or perhaps pursue more skating exploits. What I do think Hyunseo Park could do, similar to what I felt with Jean Médard, is he's a performer. There was a section of choreography, a dance break, the choreo sequence. He's got an obvious connection with music. The Daft Punk choice makes sense with the way that he moves, and he's got huge jumps.
And I think, you know, those huge jumps took a lot of fuel. I mean, look at the size of that flip, and then into the double total. It has a good start, but he started to lose energy partway through the program. That camel spin is like doubtful, maybe. And out of the 11 elements, there were 7 in review.
And the big jumping passes, we see the triple salto there. When the jumps have that great height and length, potential for creative execution is high, and that opening triple loop to triple toe that Hyunseo did, as we see some of the choreo sequence, was really positively reviewed by the judges. But when you have such big, lengthy jumps, like you said, Ted, that can exhaust much more prematurely in the program, and then the risk for negative creative execution. He just had no energy left, as you can see there.
And the more mistakes that you make in a program, the more energy that's drained. So you have less energy to execute the technique that you've been taught. So physically, a clean program is much easier than a flawed program.
Yeah.
And so, you know, keeping that into consideration, that when you're behind your music and you're chasing that and you're picking yourself up off the ice after sliding, wow, that's exhausting.
Yeah, and it's painfully exhausting as it is to survive a run through. And so now with Hyunseo, it'd be interesting to know where he's at with the higher technical elements, score difficulty elements like triple axel and quads, and whether or not, you know, because I would debate that he will need those if he's going to get many senior international assignments.
Not debate, you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reality. And I think the thing is that he gets airborne really high, and it's fine. He gets around when he has the energy, but he's got to be more efficient. Tighter rotation, faster checkout, 90.15, and that'll put him second in the free program with a 136.22 total competition score. So, big, powerful skater, no problem, really great jumper. More efficiency is going to help conserve the energy, get him through the program a little bit better. There's our next skater representing Turkey. He had a great week last
Furkan
week
Emre
in
Incel.
Ankara. He's 18 years old. Good result last week. I think he was 5th.
Yeah, I think maybe
Fourth.
fourth.
No,
yeah.
he was 4th, yeah.
Fantastic result for Furkan last week. Perhaps a little bit depleted in his energy mentally and physically because the short program was a bit of a struggle, but hoping to close out a busy 2 weeks with a strong free skate now.
Used to be so easy to give my heart away, but I found out the hard way. There's a price you have to pay. I found out that love is no friend of mine. I should have known. Time after time, so long, it was so long ago, but still got the blues for you.
A last little blast of energy from Furkan Emre Incel, representing Turkey at the end of the program. But I think, you know, Ted, we were just acknowledging it's been a busy 2 weeks, and we cannot quite comprehend what it is like for an athlete to have had that huge high of last week.
At home, yeah. Yeah, he looked like he just lost a little gas at the end of the program, had a good start to it. He was so good last week, you know, fueled by his home audience and the excitement of friends and family. It opens up there with that jump combination or sequence, and here's the triple flip. Look at the height that he has, but he's a little bit bent over in the air. He's not really streamlined, so he's not as efficient in rotation, and he has to work a lot harder on saving those landings. I guess we lost some of the replays there.
It was interesting that as his coach Rana Belka Scotchman joins him in the kiss and cry, the finish position from Furkan showcased a really, like, he was arching his back, his chin was up, his head was up. If that was born, I think, in the fact that he'd finished, so he was able to just commit his whole body to position. If he could put some of that posture into the performance.
It's one of those things for the junior men in particular. They're so young with so much power and so much testosterone. They're ready to muscle all the way through it, and it's great at sometimes, but you cannot do that through the whole program. You have to use the momentum across the ice with the timing and technique on the takeoff and the efficiency in the air. Use less energy, more efficiency on that, and then you're going to carry that through the program a lot better. Of course, that's just words. It's a lot easier said than done.
Oh my goodness, yeah. 3.5 minutes of 7 jumping passes and 3 spins. And
very easy
choreo
to say.
Sequence.
But in the end, it's true. That's all true. And you take a look at the best skaters. How can they do 5 quads in a program and a great program?
Yeah.
They have to be efficient in everything they do to have that energy.
I suppose then that's the motivation is for the skaters now. When you're in the middle of the season, you compare with yourself. Just take a step back and then regain your motivation from perhaps looking at the world champion and thinking,
watch video. We've said that. 103.04 for Furkan Emre Incel from Turkey, 150.07. And it's early on in the competition, but for the moment, that puts him in first place. There is our next skater, represents Estonia, 15-year-old Vladislav Churakov, 26th at the Junior Worlds last year, 2nd at the European Youth Olympic Festival.
And Vladislav was explaining that he's grown like 20 centimeters over the past year. So a huge amount of growth and just reconnecting with a statuesque position, hoping to exploit those great long limbs and the aesthetic that he makes to this, the White Crow free skate. Estonia's Vladislav Churakov completes his free skate to the White Crow, a piece of music that is used often in our skating community. A piece of music that was totally appropriate to the skater, and there were some beautiful moments. Actually, even the way that he takes his bows is elegant and aesthetically pleasing. I loved the Ina Bauer, not just because the position was so good and the edge work so difficult.
But worked perfectly with that violin right at the end. It was lovely. Yeah, he knows that music. He hears the music. He performs to the music. And he's very elegant.
Even that start position too. Oh, that was cool. Love the articulation of the arms. Just gotta stretch that back leg, make it even more Michelle Kwan in its style. Picture perfect.
There's the triple Lutz on a little bit of lean. It keeps his back nice and strong into the double toe, so that was really nice to start the program with. There's the triple flip. A little bit outside the circle. Has to flip out of that. That'll be a reduction in the quality, so he'll lose some points off the base value. Follows that up with accommodation there. Here's the triple loop, and that was lovely as well. And here's Asina Bauer. We're just going to slow this down here. You see that back right leg is on the back inside edge, forward outside on the left leg. Great flexibility. And
very good hips as well. You have to have such good bone structure to be able to give that kind of depth of edge on an Ina Bauer as we look at this flying camel.
Is that like
your,
is that like your anything?
I actually don't have that natural range of turnout. I'm very jealous of you, Vladislav, but you do it wonderfully.
Beautiful. That's lovely. You know, he understood that program, and so he's able to do it at a pretty high level. Nice.
Yeah. And Vladislav was explaining that he started skating. His sister was initially given the lessons, and then the coach offered lessons to Vladislav instead. And early on, he was offered Lego for every successful achievement that he made. I wonder what now the motivation is.
So here's the question. When you were skating, and if your parents gave you, what would it be? Like Lego or chocolate or?
I got nada. My parents never came to the
No, but what would it have been?
Oh, yeah, food would have been a good
like bushes.
emphasis.
Right? Like, here, you can have a head of lettuce. Right?
Not then, not then. Yeah. Gosh, you could bribe any kid with chocolate, I think.
Yeah. I would have been. You can go fishing.
The scores.
I would have done that.
That's cool.
Okay, let's take a look at the scores for Vladislav Churakov from Estonia. 104.41. That is first in the free program. And 152.53. That'll put him for the moment at this stage of the competition into first place overall. There's a look at your top first 4 skaters in the event. There's the next skater representing the Republic of South Africa, 18-year-old Cody Kock, 3rd Junior Grand Prix season. He's coached by Doug Haw. He does his own choreography.
And Cody focusing on trying to achieve the Junior World's minimum technical element score so that he can go on to have a longer season and represent his country at the Junior World Championships. Wishing him all the very best now and getting closer to achieving that in Varese.
Storm, and I'm caught up in the middle of it all, and it takes control of the person that I thought I was, the boy I used to know. But there is a light in the dark, and I feel its warmth in my hand. And goes in waves, it always does. We watch as our young hearts fade into the flood, freedom falling, the feeling I thought was set in stone. Goes place we used to lay when we were kids. Memories of a stolen place, caught in the silence, an echo lost in space. It comes and goes in waves, it always does. It always does. We watch as our young hearts fade into the flood, into the flood. Freedom falling, feeling I thought was set in stone slips through our fingers, trying hard to let go. It comes and goes in waves, carries us away. Is it ever coming back again? Is it ever coming back again? Take me back to the feeling when everything was left to find. It comes and goes in waves, it always does. We always die. Freedom falling, feeling I thought was set in stone slips through our fingers, trying hard to let go. It comes and goes in waves. It comes and goes in waves, carries us away.
Cody Kock completes a free skate, and you can see he's frustrated with himself. It's interesting, Ted. He's had to do some exams whilst he's here at the Junior Grand
Oh,
Prix,
right, yeah,
so he's
remember, yeah.
juggling stuff,
From the Republic of South
that's
Africa,
going on.
Cody Kock.
and so perhaps that offered a little bit of a distraction. But to me, if I was to give component scores for Cody up to the second element, they'd be really good. And then it just got a little bit frenetic.
You know, it sometimes when the passion of skating and the connection to music overrules the game plan and overrules the logic for keep it in control, because you're skating so big and so fast, it's so exciting, you've got that adrenaline, and all of a sudden you don't have it because you're getting tired, right? So you want to learn how to be consistent. The jumps are big, but they just need to be efficient. Like, look at the distance and the height, but they may be too big for where he's at the moment. And then a little bit later in the program, here's the triple flip, a little bit too far forward on the landing, more air time, and then the triple loop.
So big.
Yeah,
And
good jumper.
Yeah, amazing. And you know, when we look at Cody now, that triple salchow looks like it will quad in the future. And he actually said that. He said that he knows he's a late bloomer and needs triple axels and quads. But I remember that. I think that was my must-watch moment from last year.
But look at his passion when he skates. He's just all out. He just goes, and that is fantastic. You don't want to lose that. You just want to control that.
And it's a weird one because you can see the energy and the passion, like you say. He almost needs to just conserve it, preserve it for the 3.5 minutes.
It's how to use it. It's just sort of like the harder you swing at a ball in baseball, you know, it doesn't mean that it's going to go out of the park.
Yeah.
It's the efficiency of the swing, right? And the consistency of it. You have more power than you need to be efficient. Don't use that power because it makes you inefficient.
And I think, you know, that's
It can make you
much better place for us to be coming from, to look at Cody and see, oh my goodness, you've got so much amazing energy and passion and joy. Just taper it. Imagine saying to an athlete, could you just chill out a little bit?
No, and that's a good point. I mean, I don't want him, if he listens to this, to hear this as criticism, as analysis. He's gold in there. He's got gold in there. He's just got to, you know, polish it up a little bit and learn how to use it.
Pace himself a little.
Yeah, pace himself. There you go. Nice, very nice
Scores,
kid.
please.
Yeah, it's just endearing in the way that he skates as well.
He's endearing in his passion for the sport.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah. And he's looking for that
Cody
score,
Kock from the
perhaps.
Republic of South
That
Africa
started
has
out
earned a free
okay,
skate,
but then it fell apart a little bit with that
87.06
energy.
points, which gives him a
87.06.
total competition score
That's
of
fifth, free program with
135.75
and
points,
that'll put Cody
and he is
at the moment
currently
into
in
fifth place.
5th place.
And now we will be introduced to the next group of men coming onto the ice for their free program. There's a look at the results so far. There are 4 groups,
Hong Kong, China,
5 skaters,
Jiarui Li.
4.
Representing Sweden, Elias Sayed. Representing France,
6 in this
Gianni
group, in fact.
Motilla.
Yeah, and as we
Representing
look at this next
Czechia,
group,
Jakub
Matteo
Tykal.
Marchioni opening
Representing Austria,
this second group in the junior men's
Petrychenko.
free skate. Some questions that have come in, and a really thought-provoking question that we've had, which I like. Should
You paused.
yeah.
Go ahead.
But I haven't ever thought about this, so I've still got to wrap my head around it.
Okay.
But the question is, should the junior world champion be allowed a wild card entry to the senior world title?
That's a really good question, because they do that in different countries. Not necessarily the wild card concept, but I think they did that maybe a couple of years ago, a number of years ago in Russia, where if you were winning the juniors, you could also compete in seniors. Japan, you can do both anyways, right?
And I think, or is it maybe in the
In
Japanese?
Korea too, I think, in Korea.
Yeah, if they have an advanced novice champion, that also gets them an invitation, I think, up to the junior ranks as well.
Yeah.
It is an interesting concept, and I think that a lot of people...
But age.
Well, that's the thing. So a lot of people have debated the new age criteria for senior competition. So until recently, skaters, when I think about, we don't have to go too far back to find some of the youngest ever junior world champions or Olympic champions. Tara Lipinski, 15 years of age, and some very young teenage senior world champions. And more recently, it was phased in to now be 17. And I know that some of, as we discussed yesterday in the broadcast, some have debated the merits of preventing some of the younger athletes who are world senior standard from going into the world senior competition because of their age. So that, you know, opening up the wild card entry is an interesting concept. However, I don't know, it shouldn't be then that the youngster should be obligated to go to
No, you're not obligated.
choose.
No, it just opens the door should the coach want to use that as a developmental, experience. But I think it's a great idea. I like it, and I'm sure people have already thought about that, because there are people within the organization, I assume, that also have been witness to or participating in other federations. So, but anyways, good question.
Yeah, really good question. I love that. I love thought-provoking questions. Other questions again also as to whether or not we will be hearing from any guest commentators or guest interviewees. And so we do have I think he is a skating legend, Jason Brown. He may not have a world title, but he is one of the most popular, celebrated and beautiful skaters on the planet. Jason Brown is going to be joining us today. So that's exciting.
After this group?
Yeah.
So during the ice resurfacing,
And
Jason will be coming into the broadcast. We'll be talking with him before we start group number 3.
yeah, and as you may have heard us say whilst we were in Ankara and Riga last week, that the ISU is doing so many wonderful things, and they're so busy with this being the Olympic season, and so we don't have quite the same number of staff supporting the interviews. But I'm more than happy to try to chase down skaters you'd love to hear from. So perhaps it's an open question. Who do you want to hear from? Who do we try to connect with in our sport during the Junior Grand Prix? Can't promise anything, of course.
Oh my gosh, you get yourself into trouble. I mean, it's easy. You're going, okay, all of a sudden there's a bunch of,
a bunch of requests.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a matter of really, from a technology perspective, connecting it and testing it and all that kind of stuff like that. But we'd love to have them. Last year we had
Caitlin
Osmond and Jason Brown, of course.
Madison Chuck and Evan
Madison
Bates.
Chuck, yeah, they were great.
We heard from Ilya Malinen's parents. We had interviews with them. So yeah, we would be delighted to do more of that if we can. Be interesting. Whether or not we can pursue anything, I even would love to know who are the skaters that the fandom and this, even the skaters themselves. Who do you want to hear from? Because I remember myself, one of the things I was always a little bit envious of as a young athlete training in the UK, I was envious of those that got to train alongside better skaters. And for a lot of the time that I was training, I was quite often the stronger skater in the respective rink that I was in. And whilst I had wonderful coaches I am forever indebted to and grateful for, I didn't have the finances to take me to other locations where there was maybe more of a plethora of elite athletes. And so I was always then, maybe that's why I've been always so inquisitive. Whenever I do get the opportunity to speak to anybody, I want to know all about their story and what's made them so good. So
it's a good thing.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that other athletes watching want to hear. The only thing that we can't guarantee is being able to talk to athletes with different native tongues, because unfortunately, you and I, Ted, we are very limited in our lingual capabilities.
Yeah, you speak Scottish and I speak English. And I speak Canadian.
Yeah.
Any other questions there, Mark? Any quick
Skaters,
ones?
there is 1 minute left
Quick
in
fire
your
questions. Actually, that's a really interesting one. There is a question that's come in, and it's come in about our thoughts on some of the Instagram profiles that follow the sport, and I try to follow the sport as much as possible to get intel on the skaters. There are some brilliant reporters, and some of them have a real anti-ISU approach, and it's really fascinating. There's one particular Instagram that does an amazing lot of research and commits endless hours to the support and promotion of the skaters, and I admire it so much. They seem very anti-ISU, and I think for us, everybody's got their preferences and whatnot. I would say, from my perspective, being on this Junior Grand Prix for the past 4 years, I can say that the ISU is doing all they can to support the sport. There are, of course, in any industry, there are
Skaters,
people that
your
are
warm-up
perhaps
is over.
good,
Please
bad,
leave
and
the
indifferent.
ice.
But we are closer to the inside of the ISU than most, and they are doing all they can to
The
support
easiest
the
thing to
skaters.
do is to analyze and criticize or have your opinion on. If you haven't been on those committees, if you haven't been involved in the structure, if you haven't gone through that process, you wouldn't understand it, but you would criticize it. This is human nature. I don't criticize the person who's criticizing.
Yes.
But there's much more to it. Let's get
Next to
moving
skate,
on. Group number
representing
2.
Italy. Please welcome
Yes,
Matteo
representing
Marchioni.
Italy, 18-year-old Matteo Marchioni. And this is his first Junior Grand Prix event.
And Matteo will be skating to the iconic Star Wars music for his free skate. Matteo Marchioni completes his free skate, and that was a
From
great
Italy,
skate for
Matteo
Matteo. And I was just
Marchioni.
saying to you, Ted, that I'd seen Matteo and his coaches with him in the gym after the practice yesterday. The men had a day of just practice, no competition yesterday, and he was stretching diligently and with intensity, and I just got a glimpse into the insight of what this all means for a young athlete. And so then now I'm seeing a really good skate, and then support network supporting him. It makes me happy.
And it was an interesting sort of Star Wars. It was a softer version, if you will, and you know, it was a nice piece to work with, and he did a great job. Let's take a look at some of the elements here. There's the triple Lutz, great height, good lift up to the double toe loop.
Clean.
And good speed up into the flip, big lean, and has to bail out of that just to keep from falling. So his basic timing and technique is good. There's that lovely triple flip, double loop. Triple toe loop a little bit later. It's the details about when you land, for instance, keeping away from the toe pick so that you can have flow on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love this butterfly in the short program, and I love his butterfly in the free skate too. And there, the sit behind feature, just got to make sure you're low enough for that to be callable. What a great, difficult transition and exit out of that.
Last spin's the level 3, so maybe he wasn't low enough. I don't know. We're not sure.
And coaches Katerina Nemala, Martina Bernard, and Simone Baturi involved as well.
Look at all the smiles.
Oh, I love it.
Like they have fun doing this together, right?
And actually, you know, I don't know his coaches, but I know that they were committed to supporting him at the hotel yesterday. I saw that too, and it's just confirmation of the amount of life commitment that the people that are with him now in the Kiss and Cry have given to Matteo at this event. You know, they've been, you know, I could corroborate. They didn't just dump him at the rink, meet him for the practice session. They took back to the hotel. They're making sure he's okay.
Right.
They care.
Well, that's a big part of the process for the coaches here at competition. I mean, teaching them at the rink is one thing. Teaching them about that competitive environment, how you spend your time. One of the skills you have to learn is what do I do with all this extra time?
Yes, yes.
I'm not at school. I'm in a hotel. What do I do?
Can't practice much because there's only a limited amount of time.
And that's another skill you have to learn, how to manage your time to keep yourself focused and controlled and relaxed, but still in the game. So, yeah, interesting. And that's what the Junior Grand Prix teaches. You know, that's why the Junior Grand Prix is so important, teaching the next generation those things.
The learning ground for international competition.
Totally. And they're not learning anymore when you get to senior Grand Prix.
No.
You know, you've gone through this and you have a pattern for
the
yourself.
scores, please.
We wait for the scores.
Matteo Marchioni from Italy has earned in the free skate
108.12. That is first in the free program, so nicely done.
Which
Big
gives
smiles
him
there with a
total
160.57 total competition score.
160.57 points, and he's
Matteo
currently
into
in
first place.
Big smile.
Nice.
Good day for the.
There's our next skater who represents Hong Kong,
representing Hong Kong,
Jiarui
China. Please
Li.
welcome Jiarui
in the Worlds
Li.
last year. He's coached and choreographed by Chen Wang.
Jiarui Li representing Hong Kong looking pretty exhausted there, and we're just wondering there, Ted, when we were watching it from the performance, just sensing that exhaustion from
Hong Kong, China,
this young skater.
Jiarui Li.
Just wondering what preparation time he has had. I know that he competed at the Asian Open, so he has already competed this year. Perhaps maybe not in his peak fitness.
Yeah, we've noticed that with a number of the men so far in this event, that they're really getting tired halfway through that program. Now, don't think we're at high altitude here.
We need to check that.
Have to check that out. But this is a very tidy skater, like really good jump technique, nice body line. So many things going for this young skater. And some beautiful elements, a couple of mistakes here and there.
Great range of flexibility in the spins as well. I think tidy is a great description of this skate. Everything is very compact and organized.
Organized, yeah. There's the triple lutz, triple toe loop outside the circle. So he does get back on the heel and has to take a fall on that, but watch his triple loop. Nice and straight in the air and efficient. There's the triple flip. That was lovely. Good flow up into the double toe loop. Pretty good extensions. Nice posture all the way through. So he's efficient in the air. We talked quite a bit about some of the other skaters being more efficient. This young man is efficient. He might make a mistake from a leaning perspective, but he's efficient in rotation. You can see it there. That lovely triple lutz later in the program. The single axle. And then patience up into the double. Nice.
Yeah. Could you see when that last part of the program, just the legs not operating in this full range of movement, but this was glorious. The donut camel feature into the back layback. Not only great positioning, but great maintenance of the speed, which will undoubtedly impress the judges with a grade of execution. And I like that as well, the little bit of musicality towards the end of the program.
This is a very talented skater that already has a lot of organization, already accomplished. And this is one of the skaters you put on your list that, gosh, I'd like to work with them. Yeah. Right?
And interesting to see now for Jiarui Li. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and seeing the training process and the development of the quadruple jumps. And I saw recently the world champion Ilya Malinin was releasing the details of his new programs, but in the video on social media you could see young clips of him, and it was great to see, oh, well, he can do a quad axel at the beginning, could he? You know, it was the developmental stages.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Jiarui Li, now moving forward, he's got the talent to do that.
And he's just 14.
Yeah.
Like, he's just 14. So there's a growth and more muscle and all those types of things that are going to happen physically to him.
Please.
But he has the technique. It's all there.
Well trained.
Jiarui Li from Hong Kong, China has earned
great
in
job.
the free skate 113.46.
That's first in the free program with a total competition score of 166.17. As he, for the moment, takes the lead.
This places him currently in first place.
There is your top 5 skaters so far in this event. And any score up around 200 is pretty good for a junior. Anywhere from 180 or 185 to 200. There's a look at our next skater who represents Sweden, 18-year-old Elias Sayed, 3rd Junior Grand Prix season. Mark?
And Elias had said that this season he was no longer just going through the emotions, but actively trying to improve every detail of his skating. And this season, choosing a different kind of music genre for his free skate, it will be to Notre Dame de Paris. Sweden's Elias Sayed just coming to terms with that performance, and I was just trying to look Ted back through Elias' previous
From
competition
Sweden,
results
Elias
as to whether or
Sayed.
not he has done triple axel in the past, and I can't find that as yet. It's possible that he has, but I think a lot of this performance was perhaps hooked on the triple axel, which we saw in warm-up but popped in the program, and perhaps that is kind of so much of that was hooked on doing that, that then it kind of...
And a lot of little mistakes along the way. We talked about how that fatigues you. And once again, we saw another athlete really run out of gas partway through the program. We have to check the altitude here.
I know, I'm definitely going to Google that.
Yeah. There's the triple flip to start with. Pretty fast rotation. He put his foot down and decided to do the double, the single toe loop. There's the triple flip a little bit later, too far forward on that. The hand goes down. So he's having to physically really work to pick up speed after he slows himself down on a missed jump.
And here, the triple is just, he doesn't have the greatest toe pick elevation, just slips a little bit on the toe pick, so I think he struggles to get the same elevation that he would ideally like. However, I was really mindful that this program for Elias, there was musicality, there was such an awareness of the music, which we haven't necessarily seen from all of the other skaters consistently in all of the transitions. The program by Sergei Rozanov to the right of the screen, it's a good vehicle. It will be a completely different program when he's able to deliver on the tech score, because the construction, the composition of the program is ready to be favored by the judges, but when all those little mistakes pave the way, it's difficult for the judges to go.
There's a lot of points lost on Jiarui. His personal best is 115.80, and he's going to fall really short of that score here. So it was this is just being analytical, not critical. It was quite a sloppy performance, which used more energy, which, you just giving points away here.
But then when I'd heard the interview with Elias and he was given the choice between risk or stability, he chose risk.
Okay.
So this is maybe all just tactical for Elias and the team.
Learning and under pressure, absolutely. That's good for him. That's great. But he cleans that up. He's
dangerous with scores, because when that triple axel's in, all good.
Because his rotation position is pretty quick, so that's good, right? But it's the choice. It's true of the coaches. What do we do here? Always play safe, or do we go to learn?
Yeah.
We haven't done this new jump very often in the program, but let's give it a try and see what it feels like going into it. You need to make those decisions that may not always give you a good result, but it'll give you a good experience.
Yeah. And again, that's where we can see beyond. Like, we can see just little aspects like the construction of the program.
89.92 for Elias. That's 7th in the free program with a 143.14. That'll put him, for the moment, overall
He is
into 5th
currently
place.
in 5th place.
There's our next skater representing France, 18-year-old Gianni Motilla, 3rd Junior Grand Prix season. He's ranked 6th in France in senior.
And Gianni has quads in practice, 2 quads in practice, but won't be intending to use them in the program here, but will have 2 triple axels currently in his planned program content as he skates to the Red Dead Redemption soundtrack. Gianni Motilla from France has some seriously cool movement. The choreo
From
sequence,
France,
the
Gianni
penultimate element of
Motilla.
that free skate performance, worthy of re-looking. I think, rewind, have a look at that again, because that was a brilliant example of some very great creativity, as too was the forward roll to conclude the program. I'd really appreciate that originality, choreography.
I got that on the replay. So
Oh,
we'll take
good.
it.
Well done. Choreography by Michiel Chanteloz. There was tension there, and there was musicality throughout this concept and structure here, as we see the triple axel.
And it started out pretty good, but it started to lean outside the circle in the air. It had to step out, but kept it on his feet at least. And the takeoff and the rotation's tight, good, but outside the circle and the landing, check out timing is just inconsistent. There's the flip. Got that done nicely. Up into an order, up into the triple Salchow. A little bit forward on that.
And I just love it as we look at the loops. You can see Malika Tahir, his coach, in the back of shot. He's got great spring and elevation.
Totally.
And here reminds me of Berenice Maita, fellow French skater. And you can tell almost there that the choreographer's an ice dancer as he grabs the blade and the twizzles, or the three-turn. But Malika was in the back of shot, and she was living it with her students. She was encouraging and applauding. She's so committed to the support of the skaters.
And it's great to see something. I mean, I've never seen a somersault at the end of the program.
Yeah, I love that. So it's rare that we who have seen so much skating see original choreographic choices.
Well, there you go. And the point was, well, how does the sport change? And they always do the same features, right? Well, there's creativity right there.
Yes.
Okay, not necessarily tied into a technical element, but people can explore. They need to explore. It's how the sport changed, by people exploring. And I think this still gives you lots of flexibility to be very creative.
In the free skate,
the score is 107.44. That is third in the free program. Total competition score for Gianni, 161.01. And that'll put him, for the moment,
He's currently in
second
second place.
And there is our next competitor representing Czechia, 15-year-old
Jakub Tykal.
Second Junior Grand Prix season. He was 30th mark last year at the Junior World Championships.
And Jakub had a fairly clean skate in the short program, just some rotational issues on the jumping passes. Hoping for clean landings in this program to wake me up.
Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart. I don't know where the journey will end, but I know where to start. They tell me I'm too young to understand, say I'm caught up in a dream. Life will pass me by if I don't open up my eyes. Well, that's fine by me. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. pass me by if I don't open up my eyes. So that's fine by me. So wake me up when it's all over. When I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over. When I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost.
Czechia's Jakub Tykal completes his free skate, and I love Wake Me Up the track, but I love the fact that they'd use different versions of that music.
It's a happy piece.
From
Yeah, it's a
Czechia,
great piece, and
Jakub
we saw
Tykal.
with Jiarui Li, you mentioned the skater that leads the field currently from Hong Kong, Tidy, and I feel the same with Jakub.
He is. He made some mistakes in this program, but if you take a look at the overall technique, he's very, very tidy. So he's got a bright future because a lot of the work is already done. He needs to make that consistent, obviously, in competition and start to explore those, you know, those triple axles and quads and whatnot. That'll come in time with strength as we see the spread eagle into the triple flip. Look how efficient he is in the air. Just beautiful. Nice and straight. Makes it look so easy. And he didn't have to use a lot of energy in that first one, but did on the second one to get up and catch up to the music. Nice triple salchow later. Up into the double axle. And patience up into another one. Triple sow later in the program. You see how tidy and fast and quick he is in the air. It just makes the whole program more physically possible for him, and obviously tidier for the GOE as well.
Yeah, consistent. And it's just really interesting again to see the progressions of these athletes, because Jakub and Jiarui Li, they are the skaters that you can easily conceive going on to great success, and it really interests me to see, you know, what will Andre do with the development of this athlete. But Andre himself was such a successful skater, you know, that he knows, and I love that for the skaters, is that there's a confidence and a surety in knowing, well, my coach has been there, my coach has done that, my coach has my back.
Yeah, and you can trust the progression that the coach made as a skater to understand that, oh, he's got me on a pathway here. I have to be patient.
And I feel like with Jakub, the way that the short program and the free skate were presented with a mindfulness of what's right at this time.
Totally, 101.37. That's 6 for Jakub in the free program with a total competition score of 155.96.
And he's currently
that'll put him for the moment in fourth place. Lots of good skill. Another one I'd put on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, on my list. And there's your top 5 skaters so far in this event. 1 skater to come in Group 2. And just a reminder, Jason Brown will be joining us during the ice resurfacing after the videos.
Welcome Maksym Petrychenko.
So here is Maksym Petrychenko from Austria, 18 years old. 13th after the short.
And Maksym will skate to Daylight by David Kushner for his free skate with a planned triple lutz as the first jumping pass.
Telling myself I won't go there. Oh, but I know that I won't care. Trying to wash away all the blood I spilled. This loss is a burden that we both share. Two sinners can atone from a lone prayer. Souls tied, intertwined by pride and guilt. There's darkness in the distance from the way that I've been living, but I know I can't resist it. Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time. You and I drink the poison from the same vine. Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time. Hiding all of our sins from the daylight, from the daylight, running from the daylight, from the daylight, running from the daylight. Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time. Telling myself it's the last time. Can you spare any mercy that you might find? If I'm down on my knees again. Deep down, way down, Lord, I try to follow your light, but it's nighttime. Please don't leave me in the end. There's darkness in the distance. I'm begging for forgiveness, but I know I might resist it. Sins from the daylight, from the daylight, running from the daylight, from the daylight, running from the daylight. Oh, I love it and I hate it at the same time.
Mark, that was a nice program.
Yeah.
I mean, nice, really well done technically.
And for me, Ted, when we were watching Maksym Petrychenko from Austria, I just was so conscious that
from Austria,
he was
Maksym Petrychenko.
Indisputable. I didn't doubt him.
No.
It was the cleanest skate that we've seen thus far, and you could tell from many of the takeoffs and the back preparation entry edges that there was an assurity to his movement. Well,
the consistency on the takeoff, he always left the ice straight, and he always left the ice balanced, so he wasn't fighting warp rotation of the air out of position, having to save it. It was just right on cue all the way through this program, and some nice moves as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking back, he's won international medals but hasn't done Junior Grand Prix, and just no debate. That was just in the place that he needed to be throughout.
Yeah, and I think as he cleans up the landing positions, they're okay for junior, but moving to senior, you want them tidy and stretched out a little bit more for sure. But look how organized he is on the takeoffs, and there's a nice camel spin change of edge right there. Keeps that going. Watch how organized he is on the takeoff. And he's not fighting it, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting as you reference the landing positions. Obviously, there will be, as we look at this is the only real mistake really with the triple flip.
Yeah, and then trying here and
nah. However, when we talk about the landing positions, there'll be an obvious focus now on triple axel and quads to increase that technical element score with more difficulty, but there's always the push for more technical element score via the creative execution. So, when we're talking to the likes of Jason Brown, then that's the landing position that you want to amass and
exactly
apply.
And this is a really good, he's got a great foundation. Now from a body position perspective, there's work to be done in that, but technically he's doing really well at this point. A lot to work with. I'm putting him on my list. He's going on my list.
Your list is getting pretty lengthy.
As a coach, when you see the basics, even though they may not be at the top, you say, whoa, they've got what you need at that point as a coach to continue the development.
And therefore, shout out to Yulia Rojkov for the work that she has done in creating that quality that we're seeing.
Yeah, great job. No question. As he waits for his scores, and you might see a new leader at this point. Final skater in group number 2. There are 2 more to come. And don't forget that we have Jason Brown joining us during the ice
please.
resurfacing. We'll see a couple videos first. Jason will come back. We'll
Maksym
talk and grill
Petrychenko
him. I know
from
you will,
Austria has
Inspector
ended the skate
Panready, be grilling Jason with a million questions. I won't even get a word in. I will just stay away from it. 161.54 total competition score for Maksym. That puts him in the first place. What a great job. What a great way to end group number 2. Take a look at the results so far after 2 groups, 2 more to come. And of course, we have 36 women coming a little bit later today as well. It's a long day, but lots of fun. Final day of competition here in Varese. There's a look at the standings so far after 2 groups. Mark, what do we got back? What do we have on the video playback? And then, of course, Jason will be joining us after that.
Yeah, chance to listen into our must-watch moments from Riga, the first stage of the Junior Grand Prix 2025, and then back to Riga again for the winner's interview where Ryo Nakata, the Junior World Champion, was interrogated by me, and then we won't interrogate Jason Brown. We were delighted to chat to Jason Brown.
Yeah, you will.
No, we won't.
So enjoy the video playback, but make sure you stay with us. The great Jason Brown will be joining us for the last 2 groups. That should be a lot of fun. I won't get a word in edgewise with Mark and Jason, no question. Stay with us. Here we go. We'll be back in just a few moments. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Riga, Latvia, and Mark and Ted's must-watch moments from a great week of competition. Mark?
Yeah, opening up the event with the women's competition winner, Mei Akata from Japan. She was a bronze medalist 2 times last year on the Junior Grand Prix series and narrowly missed out on competing at the Junior Grand Prix final. This season, she was utterly golden, and she has said that she hopes to include a triple axel as the season progresses, and we look forward to seeing her continue to develop and improve even more.
And in pairs, Ava Kemp and Jonathan Elizarov from Canada. What an outstanding performance they had at both the short program and the free program. Lots of injuries last season, but they're completely together this year, and they are a team to be reckoned with.
The must-watch moment from the ice dance competition has to go to the champions from Canada, Leila Villon and Alexander Brandis, who moved up from second place after the rhythm dance to take the title in a narrowly fought competition. Their free dance, the Max Richter piece, was spellbinding, and such brilliant musicality utterly justifies their 15 points and their first step, hopefully, on the way to the Junior Grand Prix final in Nagoya, Japan.
The must-watch moment in the men's event has to go to last year's World Junior Champion Ryo Nakata, skating to Gladiator and landing 2 quads to start the program. Absolutely brilliant, and a great start to this season as he moves towards another Grand Prix final.
In other must-watch moments, I was so captivated by America's Sherry Zhang. She didn't make the podium at this event, but her short program was a little bit of an homage to a great world champion of the past, Michelle Kwan. She was a 5-time world champion from the United States of America, and Sherry subtly but beautifully gave homage to her movement, and I thought it was a really fitting tribute of a great champion.
And Mark, in my must-watch moment, I'm a little biased on this one. Grayson Long from Canada in the men's short program. He has grown and matured so much in his performance. Absolutely outstanding. His best ever performance and best score of his career. Here in Riga with the men's champion, Ryo Nakata, the junior world champion from last season. What a great competition you've had this week, of course. What is different about you this year from last year?
Last year I got the junior world title, so I have a lot of confidence in my competition, so I want to keep the confidence to the end.
You've had a lot of energy. You have a lot of energy. And in times in the past when you get excited about something, you'd make a mistake and then you might make a second one. But you're learning to control that. I mean, is that something that you're concentrating on now?
Yes. So if I miss my jump, I guess I'll panic. So I try not to do that now.
Yeah. What's your goal for this season?
I want to get my high score in every competition, and I want to make all my fans and family happy in my competitions.
Well, I think they're pretty happy from last season. They're pretty happy now as well. Well, congratulations on this win. It's been really exciting to follow your career on the Junior Grand Prix because you've got a bright future going into seniors, and it must be exciting. Have fun along the way. So important.
Thank you.
Ryo Nakata, the champion here in Riga. Welcome back, everyone, to Varese, Italy. Now, we are so lucky to have to have Jason Brown joining us from Toronto and his home. Jason, thank you so much for spending the time. We love talking to you, and the world of skating loves you. And it was great. Last year, you joined us. I can't remember what city we were in, but you joined us, and it was so much fun for you to look back, to look at these juniors and think back to your careers. Okay, Mark, I'm letting you loose.
Oh, gosh.
Go.
I feel like I've got to rein it in, Jason, because Ted has built this up. Anyway, it's wonderful to see you.
You're great.
I think probably when I was just thinking, what can we ask relevant to what we're seeing? So obviously we're watching the Junior Grand Prix, and so many of the skaters I know that are competing at these events have cited you as their inspiration. So that's first of all, amazing for you to hear that. Good for you to know that so many of these young skaters choose you. But then it begs the question,
my gosh.
like, what then is your inspiration now that you are arguably the best program component skater in the world? Then totally. What do you use now as the inspo for you, because you're still competing, you're still pushing yourself?
Oh my gosh, there's so much to unpack in that question.
See, I told you.
There's so much there. To start off, I think just point blank, I'm so inspired by this next generation of skaters coming up and pushing the sport and just seeing them develop and grow. I think being an older skater now and having all these years of experience, I look back and I see so much of just like the awe and excitement of these kids, and they're having their first events and competing internationally and the friendships that they're making. And it just like warms my heart, and I think that's something that just like keeps that spark going for me, is just that pure love and awe of the experiences that we get. You know, so many of these kids, it's their first time traveling internationally, and so it's like it's that constant reminder of like how lucky we are that we get to travel the world doing what we love and performing and competing and building these friendships and these relationships. And I think at this point in my career, it's almost like I'm really embracing that to the fullest and realizing just how lucky I've gotten to be to do that. And then especially when it comes to pushing the sport, you know, I really find it so inspiring to see how they push the sport technically and what people are able to do. And I want, you know, when you guys mentioned the component side of the sport, I really want kids growing up to realize and to value that as well. And just to know that you can forge your own path in this sport by pushing the quality, pushing the GOEs, and hold your own with the best.
Well, how great is that? You know, Mark, Jason talking about his excitement about these young skaters. There's, you know, many skaters probably look at the other juniors, but he has a real passion for the journey that he traveled and watching the journey of these young people. We're very lucky. We're like that. I mean, that's why we do what we're doing here. So he's a perfect fit for all of this.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's interesting when you were saying, Jason, that you are still relishing the fact that you can still do it, because I think perhaps for some of these juniors, you know, international competition, whilst it's incredibly exciting, there is a bit more pressure now. It can develop from being the hobby into a bit more of an onus responsibility. So it's great maybe for the younger skaters to hear they might now be feeling a whole lot of different kind of energies, and it gets a bit more stressful. But then you're now, I don't know if you've had that, but you've certainly come through that now to back to being, oh yeah, traveling the world competing is still joyful.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely the second, what you mentioned, it's you've come through it. I think by being in the sport as long as I have it, there's nothing that I haven't faced or experienced, and that's like highs and lows and everything in between. And so I think I dealt with starting off, and it's like that exciting new, oh my gosh, everything's, you know, almost the sky's the limit, to, oh my gosh, so much pressure, feeling the anxiety, feeling like I can't keep up, and the stress of that, and having those really tough moments. And then also coming through the other side and growing from those experiences, learning from them, applying what I learned, and feeling, you know, that success and how you define success has so vastly changed in the course of my career. And that's something that I wouldn't have experienced if I wasn't in it for as long as I've been. You know, there's so many times where you could have walked away. Yeah.
Jason, what would you suggest to young skaters that are on that wall and how to get through it? You talk about coming through or getting through that. How did you do that? Getting through
the biggest things. Yeah, the biggest thing for me was really changing things into that learning perspective mode and making things still, for me, what I always found really motivating is like switching things into challenges versus whether it was like success or failure or what would define that. So like in those really tough moments, you know, let's just say I couldn't sleep because I was struggling with anxiety or jet lag or going into an event, and it was almost like, okay, like let's see if I can overcome this and perform and what I could do. Or if I fell on my first couple jumps in the program, it was like, okay, get back up, like can I recover? And so it became a little bit, the successes shifted where, of course, you're always striving for that gold medal. You're always striving to be the very best every time you step onto that ice. But it wasn't defined by those moments, where I think in my career and growing up, there were moments where I really felt like it was an all or nothing mentality, where like if I didn't win, if I didn't medal, if I didn't skate clean, then I failed or I wasn't good enough. And I think having that mentality every single day when you're coming into the rink and giving it your all and feeling like you're hitting the roadblocks over and over and over again and not hitting any success, it's really not only frustrating, but it chips away at you a lot.
So you've essentially you define the human more than the skater. The human trumps over being a great skater.
Yeah, and I think it's also acknowledging how hard this is. You know, when you're younger, you're like doing it and you're like, not that you expect it, but there's, as you grow up, and you know, you see this in younger kids that go through puberty, and you see this in terms of the more experiences you have, and you go from this underdog to now there's all these expectations on you and to deliver, and those things take time to learn how to cope with and how to deal with, and it's just like being, you know, understanding through that process and giving yourself a little bit of grace as well.
So kind of, I suppose, selfishly wanted to know, moving forward, what now, Jason?
Yes.
Though, having, you know, you acknowledged the roller coasters, the experiences, the multitude of learning lessons you've had, you're still competing. You're still, you know, going and putting yourself out there. What is the motivation for you now? How do you view that? Because, of course, you'll still have to face some of those responsibilities or pressures as well. What fuels you now?
Yeah, when it comes to, it's actually kind of fascinating for me, and the arc that I've been on is there isn't a level of fear anymore. There was a part of me throughout my career where I felt like there was that fear of letting people down, or fear of not succeeding, or stress of what would it mean if I didn't qualify for a certain event. And I have gone through it all in my career, where I've had the pressure and I didn't qualify and had to deal with that. And I've had moments where I've risen to the occasion. And I think at this point, the fear of like, what if, isn't there anymore, because I've gone through it and I know that I can get through anything. And so I think that there's a level of just like how much I've learned through the sport, and there's a level of respect that I have for the sport and for myself in terms of like, wow, like I've been through it, like I can do anything in that sense of getting through. But when it comes to that motivation, it's just it's shifted to things like, I want to be, you know, in the mix, showing that next generation of kids how important the quality and the integrity and being able to tell a story on the ice, and kind of really maximizing the system and doing what you can to be your best self, and showing that there's a roadmap for you in this sport. I know growing up for me, so many times I felt like people are like, you know what, like there's just no future in the sport for you and the ways in which the sport's headed. And kind of like you have to come to terms with that. And I think I kind of reject that notion, and I like really want to prove to this next generation that there are so many ways to succeed.
I mean, sorry, Ted. We're both gasping to ask the next question.
And he wins.
I was going to say that I think what's really pertinent in regards to what you try to champion and do champion in regards to quality and essentially program component scores is that I think, Ted, that Jason's name is renowned and spoken of as much. In fact, I can actually say that for definitively. We connect with these young juniors, and whilst we do hear about the greats like Yuzuru Hanyu and many other names, Jason's name is probably, I would say, Jason, it's disproportionately mentioned more than the world titles. When I think about, you know, you should know that your name is mentioned, and you haven't got a world medal as yet. Maybe you will.
but you have managed to captivate and garner attention.
It's difficult to describe Jason's skating because it's bigger than the sport. I mean, I know that sounds, I don't want you to, but when a real skater watches you, they don't know how that gets done because it's so beautiful. And I wanted to ask the question that I wanted to ask: what is your favorite program of all the programs you've done in your life?
Oh, that's
my gosh!
I mean, I did ask a question
because I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah, what do you want us to go back?
So hard. Do you know what I'm gonna pull this year's.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna pull you just wait. I am so excited about my programs from this year. Not only is it's a little blast from the past for a short program and just like a little nod to my career that way, but my free program as well is really encompassing to everything that I've been through, and I feel like it's something that I wouldn't be able to perform if it wasn't for my longevity and growth in the sport. So I'm gonna defer to that.
Best is yet to
Jesus, we have to wait now. Now we have to wait.
That said, I did sit down with my choreographer Roheen Ward, who has done almost every single program of mine, maybe except like 3 programs that I've ever competed. And we did sit down and do a blind ranking of my program.
Really?
So
cool.
We did have fun with that. So whether that's like the true order or not, it was a blind rank. So we didn't know what was coming next. And so we did talk about that. But that said, I'm gonna I'm going to pitch the new program.
It's great that you bring up Roheen, because I don't know if this young generation of skaters that we're watching and listening to now know. Jason, we sang your praises of how wonderful your work is, but I know that many of these young skaters won't be familiar with Roheen skating. I don't think there's the same vocabulary of work on YouTube of Roheen that we have the joy to see of yours, but he is ridiculously good,
ridiculously
insane. Yeah, insane what he's capable of, and I'm just so grateful that he saw something in me and kind of really pushed for me to really explore this side of the sport.
And I kind of wish that the world would have seen him skate. I did see him skate, but he wasn't the strongest competitor, but he was the world's most creative and dynamic, whatever words you want to use. He was spectacular. I wish the rest of the world would have seen it.
Well, I've seen little clips. I've got friend. Oh, Yevon. We were talking about Yevon the other day, Jason. A wonderful, gorgeous skater, one of the world's most beautiful skaters. But I think it's showed videos of Roheen jumping all his triples both directions.
Yeah.
Crazy. What kind of craziness is that?
It's insanity. It is insanity. And I just want to also say, talk about someone that had even what you mentioned and saying he struggled with competition and the pressures and performing in those venues, but he took everything that he learned and he gives it back to his students and the people that he works with. And so it's something where he took all these experiences that were difficult or he struggled with, and he was like, I'm going to not only have I learned from that, but I'm going to give that next generation of athletes, and I was fortunate to be one of those people of skaters that he really instilled what he learned, the good and the bad, the things that he wish he knew, the things he wish he listened to his coaches that he didn't take into, didn't really take the advice. I don't say seriously, but it, as a kid, it's, you don't always listen.
No, true.
And I think that's just something that even now as adults in the sport, I view it as a place of I can't wait to continue giving back, and what can I do to help, whether it's inspire the next generation or take what I've learned and really, I'm just being as open as possible to this next generation to mentor in any possible way. But that's such a huge thing from Roheen, and so it's even, I don't know, those things where even if he didn't have the best competitive experiences, he was able to take what he learned and apply that and give that information and to us, and I'm just so grateful. So it's through good and bad, it's there's always ways that you can make a difference in someone else's life.
Well, we're at the last few seconds of this warm-up, and for those of you listening to this, if you haven't seen Roheen Ward skate, go on and find it on YouTube and understand what Jason was just talking about. He was an extraordinary skater, is an extraordinary choreographer, and a giver to the next generation, as Jason is as well. So we get started in group number 3 in the men's free program, the final day of competition here in Varese. There we take a look at Kirill Sheiko from Israel, 14 years old, ranked 2nd in junior in the Israeli Nationals. Did not have his best skate in Riga.
No, didn't have his best skate in Riga, but such a captivating and somewhat enigmatic in his delivery, skating now to the Count of Monte Cristo for his free skate. So Kirill Sheiko, representing Israel, completes his free skate. That's now the end of his Junior Grand Prix season for this year. And within these events, Jason, we've seen perhaps stronger free skate in his last competition, perhaps stronger short program here, but a skater under development, but certainly showcasing lots of potential.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to see him as he continues to grow. I was like even in awe when it came up and it was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing to be out at this event getting that experience now. And the way that he flies across the ice in the opening jumps, the speed and the flow, especially like I mentioned from a 14-year-old, it's amazing.
And I know he can triple axel. We're going to have a little look at the Lutz combo here, but he's got all the goods to go on technically, as we see so much ice coverage on the triple Lutz triple toe.
So much. Yeah, beautiful ice coverage on this triple flip, triple toe.
And his mom, Jason, was explaining, his mom's a brilliant coach, coaching and parenting here, but she seems mindful, like, at this stage of development at 14, there's unexpected kind of volatility of emotion as we see that amazing difficult entry.
Yes, hey, this is the time to experience it all. Experience, like, even just what you mentioned, having that experience of competing in Latvia and then coming here basically a week, like have a week break and then coming back so soon and competing again and just traveling internationally, getting out there, performing these programs on the international scene.
And then next week, we will see Kirill's brother, Nikita Sheiko. He's taking over the baton in the family.
And he'll be with his dad in Bangkok. So it's a family affair. Mom and son here and dad and son in Bangkok back-to-back weeks. And they're pretty special families. Very special story of where they skate and you know, how they manage a skating family. And so, and there's many stories like that around there. Mark and I have talked a lot about that, Jason, how many parents are actually coaching their kids, financial reasons and all sorts of different reasons. But the sacrifice that's given by parents and family around is just remarkable and not often talked about.
For sure. It's so nice to have that support from your family.
And I think just looking, Ted and Jason, at the scores for Kirill, he has a personal best from the Riga in the free skate, but I think going to fall short of that with what we saw here.
Few too many mistakes here. He's got lots of potential. 99.70 for the free program. That is 8th so far, with a 6th place finish with a 155.42 for the competition at the moment. Talented young skater, lots of energy, and he's on his pathway to learning. This is just part of the process, and a bad skate is a good skate for the future. It helps build you. Let's take a look at our next skater representing Germany, 16-year-old Leon Rojkov, 2nd Junior Grand Prix season, 8th at the European Youth Olympic Festival. Mark?
And Leon achieved an ISU personal best with his short program from 2 days ago, hoping for a new PB in the free skate as he performs to Avatar. Germany's Leon Rojkov completes his free skate, and a skater that has so much elevation, such an incredible spring in that opening triple axel, he will be incredibly proud of, I am sure. It's interesting, Jason, as we see Leon taking his bow here, that we've seen some skaters that have huge jumping passes, but perhaps have tended then to fatigue earlier in the program than those that go for the longer, maybe more compact jumping passes. It's an interesting debate, big and high or long and low?
Oh, I don't think it's one or the other. I have to say it's about pacing, it's about training, it's about kind of taking your own style and learning how to, in a lot of ways, cope with it. So, you know, like someone who has huge jumps like this, as you're about to watch this unbelievable triple axel, so much power. You know, certain things might be more exhausting or be harder on the muscles than, you know, other skaters who have, like you mentioned, long and low jumps. But that said, it just all comes down to training. It's working the technique, it's practice, and it's having experiences like these where you make a mistake, you get right back up, you know, refocus and execute the next jump the best that you can.
Look, even here, that's a shame that he went down on the first of the two triple toes, managed to salvage a second triple toe later on. I think Mr. Barton may have caught that. Indeed he did.
And not just salvage it. Look how awesome the second triple toe is.
True.
Talk about coming back after a fall and being like, nope, got it.
Check this out. How many runs do you think, Jason, like, would you do ever in terms of practice for Leon and discussion about reps? Would you do double run-throughs ever, or not something that you would have done?
It's totally person dependent, whether that's running. I mean, I always run, when I was a junior, a full short, a full long every single day, start to finish, and then I would run a lot of sections. But that's totally dependent on person. Sometimes I'll go into an event and be like, okay, my goal is to run X amount of clean programs before I get there. So, you know, that might entail I run 2 short programs that day to try to reach that goal. So it's always, or 2 free programs. So it does depend, but it's really trying to figure out the skater's way of training that makes them feel the most confident and prepared.
So Leon will be more than pleased, I'm sure, with this. If we look at the ISU PB that he's got, it's a 98.88. Now, we acknowledge that he might have had higher than that at other internationals, but certainly an ISU event of this caliber, this is going to be a new PB.
And this could be like a defining moment for him, because when you break that barrier, your top barrier, as significant as this will be, he said, wow, I guess I can do a lot more than I was doing or whatever. This could be a very positive experience for him and help him gain confidence, of course, as he anxiously waits, hands claps, big smile, thinking that, okay, can I beat that score? Yeah, you're going to. Here it is, 109.01. That is third in the, he's good, that's okay. Second overall so far with a 168.27, 2 thumbs up in the kiss and cry. Happy skater. Well done. Nice. Here's a look at the leaderboard, top 5 so far in this event. We move on into group number 3. Our next skater representing Spain, Andre Zapata. He's 18 years old, second junior Grand Prix season, Spain's junior champion. Mark?
And Andre acknowledging that this, as his last junior season, is hoping to make the absolute best of it before moving on to make his senior debut internationally. And he said that he's as motivated as ever to continue skating and pushing himself to his limits. And he will skate to one of my favorites, Oh by Coldplay. 18-year-old university student Andre Zapata completes his free skate. A skater that said that last season he felt he had a huge breakout, and so delighted with the progress he made. Coming though into this free skate in 10th place, hoping to maintain a top 10 place at the Junior Grand Prix, but struggling a little bit through the performance. But for me, Jason, I just saw such joy in the latter stages. There was such an effervescence to his face. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, it was amazing to see. I think something that I just have so much respect for skaters, where if you joined the feed to watch this at any point of that program, you would have no idea what came before and what's to come, because he, like you mentioned, he just was like shining, and he was every time there was whatever, good, bad jump, the integrity of the program was there, and like you could see how trained he was.
Yes. That's such a good point, actually. We look at the triple H triple toe mistake early on, and then coming back with redemption on the triple loop, but then irrespective, like you say, of the mistakes, and that was a tough fall on the flip, but didn't let that erode the program component effort.
Not a single second, which I just, like I mentioned, have so much respect for, and it was amazing to see. You know, as you said, it's that the smile, the emotion. It wasn't like you saw it for a single second. When the music was ended, here you see the little bit of the emotion or the disappointment. But when the music was playing, not for a split second did any of that doubt or emotion come through.
That's the love of skating. You know, no matter how challenging it is, you still want to be out there. You're still loving to be out there. And that's sort of what he exuded throughout that program, even with the challenges.
Yeah, and Andre said that he started skating at 6 years old and somewhat instantly fell in love with it. So still got the love 12 years later.
Well, let's take a look at the scores. He's a 99.54 is his personal best, so he's going to be happy with a 105.45. This is his best from last season with a 165.36 total competition score. That'll put him, for the moment, at least into 4th place. Always wanting more, but it's all part of the process. Mark?
And now we move on to the Swiss skater Sandro De Angelo, 14-year-old from the training base with Linda van Troyen and Sindre Kriese. So many great skaters coming out of that location, and Sandro showcasing brilliant technical skill with the triple axel that he performed in the short program, as well as some unique choreography as he now skates to music by Rachmaninoff. Sandro De Angelo, representing Switzerland, completes his free skate, and I noticed, Jason and Ted, that after the short program there was online interest in this young skater and acknowledgement of what he is able to accomplish at just 14 years of age, and I think the fact that he rotates in a clockwise direction makes him stand out a little bit as well, but certainly a skater with a bright future.
And such a calm demeanor out on the ice.
Yeah.
Like from a perspective which was like, as you're watching, you just feel like you can just sit back and watch. He doesn't show us any nerves. Like, look at this attack into the triple axel, just calm.
Yeah, that's
relaxed.
a really good description.
It's a really good point too, because we were talking about the music, which is very calm itself, but so it kind of did match that way, right? So,
but you almost sense that he's innately assured.
Triple axel.
He's just like on to the next thing.
Yeah.
He has this moment, he recovers and moves on.
And for me, as we look at that was interesting because we have a planned program content, and he was tweaking things mid-performance without any drama about it. For me, I just would love to see increased commitment and stretch to the line so that those PCS, the skating skills scores, will continue to match up to the great triple axel that he has. Oh, and opportunity for us now to just acknowledge the wonderful work that is happening with he and his coaching team, Linda Van Trooyen and Sindra Kriza. And we've had, Linda has been out at the Junior Grand Prix already this season. Sindra will take over later on, but the work that is being done there is obviously great, and that's exemplified not just by one skater in Sandro, but in the other skaters that we've seen from that. We've seen
the standard is quite high.
Leandra.
The training too, they're all in shape, they're all well trained, they're all well taught.
And the coaching continues.
The coaching, I was just about to say that coaching continues in the kiss and cry. So, would you say at the senior level, Jason, when you're in the kiss and cry, you would speak more than the coach would speak, because you're analyzing.
I have a rule. We don't talk in the kiss and cry.
Oh, wow.
It is like, it is a rule. Something that I was very strict about with Brian and Tracy. I was like, guys, we don't talk in the kiss and cry. I think for me, it's more of I'm still processing everything.
Yeah.
So, give me a second.
116.52 for the program, 180.56 for the competition. That'll put Sandro currently into first place. Number of skaters yet to come. And one of them is our next competitor, which you enjoyed yesterday. I did as well, from the United States.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's a fist pump for Jason. There he is.
Yeah.
15-year-old Aleksandr Fegan from the United States. He started skating at the age of 4. He says every setback in skating is a set up for a comeback. Third Junior Grand Prix season. Mark?
And we will be treated to the Firebird by Igor Stravinsky, and I think this would be so incredibly well suited to the classic skating style that Aleksandr Fegan possesses.
Your life.
The 15-year-old from New York, Aleksandr Fegan, completes a free skate, and you can see the reaction from Alexander, understandably frustrated, a skater that has been just off the podium in previous Junior Grand Prix assignments. And, you know, perhaps there's a great opportunity for you, Jason, given that you acknowledge the challenges and roller coaster that you've been through in your career, to give hope to Alexander, because he's obviously such a classy, refined mover, but this won't be something he wants to particularly remember.
Yeah, you know, progress is not linear. I think so often that's what we expect. We look at previous years, especially when we're younger, and we're like, okay, well, when I was 13, I was able to do this, and then I need to do more when I was 14, more when I was 15. But, like, you're growing, you're changing, your technique's evolving, you're trying to figure out, you know, even your coaching teams change and shifts. And I think it's just about being patient, continuing to stay true to the process and focus on the next thing in front of you. And you can see there is so many incredible qualities that this skater has. And I'm just so excited to watch him develop and continue to grow. And I got to watch him compete this past summer, just a few months ago. And to see the progress even from then, it's amazing to see. And I just really, I'm with him 100%, and I'm big fan.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ted, I think in the short program, I certainly thought to mention as we watch Alexander now that he has qualities that so many of the world's best senior skaters don't necessarily even possess. Just, of course, technically at the moment, just finding a new comfort and perhaps new technique.
Yeah, I think there's two things here. One, we know how graceful he is and how what a wonderful style he has. He wants to skate clean with the jumps that he has. He doesn't have the triple axel yet, and he's working or fighting through those triple combinations. So the flip and the lats didn't work exactly like he wants. He needs to skate, wants to skate clean at this level with all the qualities that he has, you know, in order to progress, because he's going to need to step it up technically, obviously in the next year or two. So you can see a little disappointment on his face because he's such a quality skater, and he made some mistakes that he probably doesn't make in practice at all. That's normal, I suppose, for a lot of skaters. 125.29 for Aleksandr Fegan for the United States. That's first in the free program with a 193.26, and that puts him first. Hey, it looks like okay. Okay, now we got the thumbs up. There we go.
Oh, that's nice to see the gratitude is showing. Well, the judges gave you the scores, mate, because you're brilliant. But
yeah,
you look surprised.
Totally. Yeah, he's probably not giving himself enough credit for the qualities that he does have. There's a look at our next skater representing China, 17-year-old Tonghe Tian. This is his fourth Junior Grand Prix season. He was 15th at the World Junior Championships last season, Mark.
And Tonghe Tian finds himself just outside the top group after the short program, following a fairly clean skate in that section of the competition. Day's rest since then, and now back to compete with a view to moving up as he performs to the track Prey. China's Tonghe Tian completes a free skate that absolutely justifies and deserves that fist pump. There were green boxes in all 11 of the elements, suggesting good grades of execution, and there his flag proudly waved by those that are here with him. And a happy day at the office for Tonghe Tian.
Yeah, interesting enough, he's 68.34 in the short program. He's not far off the podium, really only about 6 points, and this might climb the ladder significantly. We'll see what the score comes out, but as we see it coming in, looks pretty good.
And I love the expression after he skated.
Yeah.
Like, what joy, what pure excitement. And especially the contrast of the program being so serious, so stoic. But, I mean, come on, these jumps. Beautiful triple flip, double toe. The steps coming out of that triple sow. Yeah. So much flow with the loop, and just even like his entries, his exits. Very calm, very trained.
Yeah, I actually think Tonghe Tian's everything, as we look at the triplets double axel, everything had mindfulness. Maybe not towards the latter part, but every exit appeared to have an awareness of body movement. Laterally less so, so perhaps as the season progresses, there'll be increased development in the transitional content.
but a very solid, clean skate for this young man. There's lots of things that he will work on and polish up as he journeys towards senior, but his best score is 139.61. We'll see how close he comes to that, and that's a pretty good score for a free program for a junior. We'll see what this number will be here right now with this strong performance. PC's in the mid sixes, mid to high sixes, so and that will help him with the technical content. We see we don't have anything under rotated or the quarter, so pretty clean.
Yeah, a few little exclamation marks, I should say, on the flip, so perhaps just deviating a little bit from the back end side edge on the takeoff there.
Well, there's a score, 131.41, and nod of approval by Tonghe Tian, 199.75, and that'll put him into first place overall at this point of the competition, and there are 6 skaters to come, so we'll see what that number will mean to the standings, but there's 6 very good skaters yet to skate.
We have questions, Ted.
Well,
and they're not just from me.
Well, thank gosh, thank God, right? Okay, they're for Mr. Jason Brown. So
yes.
let's as we take a look at the standings here during the next 6 minutes, we're going to grill Mr. Jason Brown with the questions that come from our viewers. Okay, Mark,
bring it on.
bring it on.
So actually, I'm going to zero in on this question for you, Jason, because it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. It's something that we've touched on a few times. Last year we did the Shape Hearts campaign that the ISU initiated because they wanted to ensure that figure skating was a safe space for well, the youngsters particularly, but for all. And yesterday we were talking about we're really keen to preserve the juniors' brain, emotional well-being, and that's a part of Vision 2030 for the ISU, is to be mindful of safeguarding these young humans. But equally though, I was referencing some of the seniors that I've seen who've taken to social media to acknowledge that they get quite a lot of abuse online too. That takes me then to the question, what advice would Jason give to fellow skaters, especially the younger generation, about tuning out fan negativity on social media or the internet? And I think it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I'd love to hear where you're at with that discussion point.
It's a great question, and I think it's so specific for person to person in terms of whether it's something that they're reading, whether it's the interactions that they're having with fans, whether it's something that is it coming from other athletes, is it coming from random people online, adults. I think it's so dependent. For me, something that I think is I don't want to say is the easiest way, I don't want to call it easy, is really just not reading it, or not kind of subjecting yourself to the criticism by going online and looking yourself. You don't always look up your name, you don't know what you're gonna find, things like that. But a huge thing, in the other way, is surrounding yourself with people that really have your best interest at heart and are there, who you can rely on, who, if you see a negative comment, you could talk to them about, and then you can kind of almost joke about it and be able to flip it, or, somehow rewire your brain to not let it chip away at you. Because it's not something that, as much as we want to say it's going to go away, it's most likely just going to
continue.
The more you do, the more it's going to be out there. And I think our job as athletes, and especially in a sport like figure skating, where we really want to push that artistic element, and it is a performance, we're putting ourselves out in very vulnerable situations in these competitions, kind of giving out our hearts into these performances. So we're really even more subjected to not only criticism, but also to feel the criticism a lot more personally.
Yeah, and I think when we're passionate about caring for these young people, but you're right in acknowledging it's not going to go away. But what I think is interesting in regards to what you do, Jason, you've got an amazing social media platform. You've got hundreds of thousands of followers online, and in the world where we're talking about expansion of the sport, Vision 2030 is to promote this sport, and we're all mindful that we want to do as much as we can to take ice skating to a wider fan base. So it's managing that ability to perhaps be relevant in a world where social media is a connection point for lots of people, but not letting it dominate and you know, violate your brain space in a negative way, even if it is something that you could be subjected to whilst taking part in social media.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest thing is we want, in like you mentioned in the sport, we want to bring it to more people. We want to make it more relevant. We want to get more people involved. And I think, kind of, as you mentioned, shifting the focus into like the positive spaces of like, what can we do to promote that? And the negative stuff, it's gonna be part of that. But if you can focus and keep shifting back to, I want to tell my story and I want to share my experience, and you see that from these athletes more and more. Whether it's like even online, I know like people have started, like, you get backlash and people make jokes about it online. In terms of the person flipping it on its head and being like, yeah, I know I screwed up. Cool. Like, you know, and using it as a learning experience and almost acknowledging it and taking control of their own narratives, which I think is really powerful. And more and more these athletes are really telling their own stories, or, you know, people can say what they want, and then we have these platforms, these personal platforms online, whether these social media accounts of our own, that we can then tell our own story. And you know, if we want to rebuke or, you know, have a rebuttal, go for it. And everyone's going to react differently to that. But I think, as you mentioned, the goal is to keep pushing the sport and keep getting in front of more and more people. And so that's just that is just part of the reality that, yeah, the more people, the more views, the more criticism, the more like it's all just part of it.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting, Jason, because when I listen to you there, I'm going, you know, teaching these young skaters to go, why do these other people matter? Like, I mean, somebody who's a negative and angry and mean, why do they matter? I feel sorry for them that they have to do that. So you just disregard them. Like, and that's teaching the athlete and being around them to help them get through that process, you know, and to move forward in a positive way in life. They can have ups and downs for sure. But to listen to somebody who doesn't even know you or you don't know, you know, don't validate it. It's not worth it.
And it's really interesting, though. Great to hear your point there, Jason, because it's something that I get really kind of wound up about when I see people picking on these young people. It really gets me frustrated.
It does, doesn't it, for you?
It really angers me. However, what you said is it's not going to go away, and then it takes me to thinking about, obviously, you're still active in social media, and then I think about other people like Simone Biles, somebody who, one of the most discussed sports people globally. It's not going to go away. So if these skaters are pushing themselves to try to achieve greatness, like, you know, the likes of what, Quadlooks, like what you have done or other greats have done, it will still be evident. So I suppose we can't turn it away. We've just got to acknowledge that it's the way we take it rather than.
Okay.
Yeah. I think if you can, Sorry. Go for it.
No,
sorry.
The
warm-up's done.
Very good.
Never mind. To be continued.
Good messaging. Good messaging. Here we go. And one of your teammates, there's Tammy Gamble, and the next skater, what a great performance he has in the short program. Nicholas Brooks from the United States, 17 years old. Started skating at the age of 7. He's a little bit older than most. He said the proudest moments of his career so far was landing his first quad. His favorite skater, non-American, is Yuzuru Hanyu.
And Nicholas Brooks performing now to something stark contrast to the short program. It will be The Awakening.
You're live.
Nicholas Brooks from the United States of America completes a free skate that had some mistakes within it, but the first quadruple jump that we have seen of the event thus far. And one of the things that I so appreciate about Nicholas is the fact that last week in Ankara, he was posting on social media to celebrate the successes of his teammates. So a really good team player, as well as obviously a great skater.
Such a nice kid. What a great program. I mean, like, as you mentioned, the jumps, insane, the attack, the power that he has. Also, what I love so much is there was such a contrast between his long and short when it comes to the artistic styles. Like, so drastically different, which is amazing to see. But look at this quad toe opening jump. Huge! He has, like, so much
space
room.
for 5 rotations.
Oh my gosh. Awesome triple axel. Like, same. Just so much power on these jumps.
Yeah, it's all or nothing. Like, he does not hold back, and he'll learn to trim it down a little bit, have the same attack, but a little bit more control perhaps on the end of the jump, but this will come with experience. He's exciting to watch.
Yeah, and obviously things... sorry, Jason, I'm just saying things starting to falter at the end, but when the jumps were best, like the triple loop, the grade of execution potential for him is like +3, I think, at least.
Oh, it's incredible. And just like the personality coming out in the program is awesome. And what an awesome international debut.
And
Start to finish, the short, the long, like...
You were just saying, Jason, as well, this is a skater that's obviously had, already at 17 years of age, he's had so many experiences within the sport. He's been a successful ice dancer as well, but you were saying that he didn't qualify for US Nationals, so he's had his own challenges. Great to see success here.
He's going to be a lot of fun to watch as he continues to explore what his abilities are. Physically, no problem. He's going to be a huge jumper, really exciting to watch. And then as they gets crafted into the artist or the performer that he already is, and that gets matured as well. He's going to be just a great asset to American skating, that's for sure. So you see him in the Kiss and Cry with Tammy Campbell, who's coached so many great young skaters over the years and champions both in juniors and in seniors. So he's in good hands.
In very good hands, and I just cannot wait to watch him develop in this sport.
Yeah.
Big fan, really excited for him, and cheering him on all the way.
Absolutely, and good experience here, sort of on the next stage, the big stage. The national championships is a big stage in the States, let's face it. But getting to represent your country, even if it's on the Junior Grand Prix, is a moment of pride that it's hard to explain.
Oh, for sure. There's nothing like when you get announced representing the Team USA for the first time. Like, that is, chills. Chills, still to this day, it's chills. But it's become a little bit more of a norm, which is crazy to think about.
124.85 for the free program for Nicholas. That is third with a 195.34 total competition score. That'll put him for the moment currently into second place. Great future, bright lights. As this young man continues to develop, it'll be a lot of fun watching him, that's for sure, as he learns. And our next skater comes from just north of the United States, from Canada, 18-year-old David Bondar. He is the Canadian junior champion. Mark?
A little North American outnumbered here.
Why
with
not?
Jason yourself,
Come
David.
on, let's go. Finally, I have a friend here.
Well, David Bondar in his final junior season, hoping to move close to the podium, is maybe 5 points adrift of that presently, but has the technical content to be competitive as he skates to music from Game of Thrones.
Well, Mark, that was a really, really tough skate for David Bondar. He's made such improvements over the years. This is what used to happen a number of years ago. He wants, I think, maybe focused on that podium because he's pretty close to it. I'm not sure, but a tough day.
Yeah, and this is the time, although I did acknowledge that David is, closing out his Junior Grand Prix time, still just a teenager wishing to do their very best representing their country, and that kind of pressure affects seniors as well as juniors, so just kind of heart goes out to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Those tough performances, Jason, do you remember the moments when you had great anticipation and it got away from you?
I remember them all too well, but I have to say, you do learn so much from those moments, and there were times where I would skate a really great short and feel like I was in that medal contention, and I would just freeze up going into that long. The expectation shifted, my focus changed, and I have no idea what is going through David's mind, so I don't even want to put words in his mouth. But when I just know in those moments, learning from them and being able to, oh my gosh, this is what it felt like, and learning how to shift to the long program after a great short and being like, it is a completely new day. Clean slate. It's not something I'm building off of or trying to match. It's like full on new day, new skate. Here we go. And it helped a lot because regardless then of how the short went, it was like a reset.
And as we look back at the performance, we see the choreo sequence, gorgeous Ina bar, gorgeous spread eagle, and we can see the quad toe that we saw in practice. Everything is there for David. And also, I think you guys will know better than me, but Lee Barkel has been with him through these challenging experiences before, and he's helped to get him to deliver still solid performances. And a coach like Lee Barkel knows how to ready a world championship level athlete, so he's in the
he's been with David when he came out of the Junior Grand Prix and in a rough start in his first couple of years, and slowly got him to believe in himself and had some really strong performances. Won the Junior National Championship last year, really felt on the way, and I think he felt when he went in today he was in control, but once it got away from him because his mental goals were high, and one mistake made him start to think about, is this out of, and then one mistake went to 2 and 3. Those days happen. He'll learn from it. It's going to make him a better skater moving forward, but it's never pleasant. And we've said that many times, and it's true. It's absolutely true. It's just not nice for him to feel. We wish he didn't have to go through that. Score is 97.94. That is 15th in the free program for David, with a total competition score of 168.78. That'll put him for the moment at least into 6th place, and there are 4 skaters to come. There's the next skater representing Slovakia, 18-year-old Lukas Vaclavik. 6th in the Junior Grand Prix final in Grenoble, 6th in week 1 in Riga. Mark?
Lukas Vaclavik has often chosen soundtracks as the music choice for his free skate, so enjoying embracing the theme and context, and that will be evident right through to the details in his costume as he performs to the Matrix.
Lukas Vaclavik from Slovakia completes his second free skate, and this skater with so much strength, but again, as we have seen, is perhaps a little bit of a recurring theme throughout this competition, fatiguing towards the end, and unfortunate when there were some valuable elements in the second half of the program that were not his friend today.
Yeah, and I said, off air that he reminded me a little bit of Thomas Werner in the look, a little bit. They're powerful, strong skaters. It didn't all work out for him, but look at the intensity in his eyes at the start of this program, and he had a pretty good opening.
Yeah, he really embodied the Matrix.
Yeah.
Beautiful triple axel, double toe open. Another triple axel there. Triple loop. You can see the landings are a little sketchy, but he's fighting every step of the way.
And how important, Jason, I want to ask you the question, how important is it for a skater to learn the skill of the sensory in the air of where you are, to know how to save a jump? Take off, and I mean, you're not in the air for very long, you're less than a second, of course, but can you get a sense of where you are to be able to fight that landing and at least stand up on the feet?
Yes. Over time, you go through all these different experiences when your legs feel heavy, when you feel really extra jittery and jumpy, when you're nervous, when you're relaxed. Like, you definitely start to learn how to adapt those jumps and when you're going to need to really fight for those landings, or when you can really accentuate the extensions on the landing. So it is definitely a process of learning, but it was amazing, even as we just watched as he competed, just like the constant fight through all of his elements as he performed. And just how strong he was, like you even said, like from the eyes, like so fierce from the get-go.
Yeah, really physically strong, and that helped him on the landings of some of those elements anyways. 125.82, that is second in the free program. With a 196.88 for Lukas, that'll put him currently, at the moment, into second place. We have three skaters to come, the top three skaters, after the short program. So, will we have any change in the podium? Probably, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they skate. There hasn't been, that perfect performance yet today, but these top three are going for points and for medals. Our next skater represents Japan, Shun Uemura, 16 years old, third after the short program. Mark.
And Shun competing in his first Junior Grand Prix, just marking through the takeoff of the triple axel, which will be one of the first couple of elements. Currently has a quadruple salto intended to be the starting element as he performs to the Mask of Zorro. 16-year-old Shun Uemura has, as we would expect from the Japanese skaters, demonstrating such brilliant knee action and flow. In the first two jumping passes, the triple axel double toe and the triple axel, delivering him, I assume, enough quality to garner the lead and maintain a podium spot in his first.
Nice GOE scores of 2.5 points almost on both of those elements, racking up the points in the first two passes.
But Jason, you know that Shun's in great hands because you know very well coach and choreographer.
Yeah, so coach Takahito Omura and choreographer Rika Hongo. I was just with Rika last week, and she was just talking about. I was in Japan with her, and she was talking about how excited she was for Shun to get out on the ice and compete these programs in his debut this season. And so it's just so exciting to see those programs come to life. And she has so much personality, and is just so much fun to work with. And then to see that being kind of given to that next generation. Like you mentioned, he's in such good hands. So lots of love to both his coach and choreographer.
Amazing.
And to him, of course. many congrats. Like you mentioned, I really truly feel like he's gonna walk away with JGP medal. So very, very exciting day as well. Not that I can predict the future, but after watching that skate.
You're
right now
very educated party on what's possible or like
yeah,
to happen.
Yeah. Call me shocked if it doesn't happen.
Right now the numbers are looking good, that's for sure. And he's a great technical talent and great skating skills, as all the Japanese skaters have, of course. As he anxiously sits in the kiss and cry waiting for those scores to find out, is he on the podium? And then, of course, waiting to the next two skaters to find out what color will that medal be.
And interesting, because Jason, you were just acknowledging that you're friends with his coach and choreographer, and Shun now, he's going to get medals, hopefully, but hopefully he's going to get even more friends than medals.
Yes. I mean, like, it's so crazy. Coach, choreographer, both of them I met competing in this sport. And so the fact that now my friends are now coaches competing this taking these next generation of skaters to their events. It just like there's so many memories that we reminisce about, and they're in such good hands, and they have their coach and choreographer has so much experience to relay to their students, and I just am in awe of getting to now witness my friends giving back to the sport.
And how great that you all are. Obviously, you're giving back now, they're giving back to the next generation, and I think that's confirmation that if you love the sport, you'll continue to give back in any guise that you can.
Here's the score, 137.18 for Shun. That is first in the free program, of course, with a 212.55 total competition score. He will win a medal. We don't know what color, two skaters to come, but he will step onto the podium a little later today.
Woohoo!
And there is our next skater, also representing Japan, teammate, of course, 15-year-old Taiga Nishino, third junior Grand Prix season at Japanese National. He was third in junior, 12th in senior.
And Taiga finds himself just less than a point above Shun Uemura, who leads the field thus far. However, just a couple of points off first place as well, so lots to play for.
Good luck.
What an incredible display from Taiga Nishino. It hasn't been the most stellar event from start to finish, but that performance has just given kind of a landmark performance within the Junior Grand Prix this year. Amazing from a 15-year-old who was 9th 2 years ago in a Junior Grand Prix, 6th in Ostrava last year, and now making a strong claim for gold.
And does he ever add the pressure on to Habin Choi? You know, coming up next, just 2 points ahead after the short program. The score will be big.
I'm just going to have to check back because last week was 1-6-1. This could be one of the highest scores we've seen. Sorry, Jason.
No, you're great. I was honestly just going to say that was lights out. That was, talk about focused, calm, direct. Like one jumped after the next. He was on a mission and he executed.
Here's the quad toe loop. Beauty. Not even reviewed. Absolutely clean on the landing. Let's see the quad sow. Here it is. That is in the system. Clean. There's the triple flip. Triple toe loop. He was just on fire, as you said, Jason. He's just totally controlled. Not fighting really too much throughout this whole program.
And as you said, this is his 3rd Junior Grand Prix season. And I feel like if you were to go back at previous years, you can just see the development that he has made. And that comes from, of course, the technique and, of course, his performance, but also his demeanor and his calmness and his, I've been here before. I know how to, perform under the situations that I'm in, under pressure, fighting for a medal. And he just went out and did it.
Interesting. I've just checked that the past 2 Junior Grand Prix this year have been won by the past 2 Junior World Champions. Hyunseo had a 1-6-1 and Rio Nakata a 1-5-8. So 2 former Junior World Champions, and Taiga, although as we see the technical panel input some additions to the score, he's certainly in contention with those 2 former Junior World Champions, which is incredibly exciting.
Yeah, when they come together on the same ice surface, this could be pretty amazing. And we'll have to wait and see whether they'll make the Junior Grand Prix final, but good start so far. Here's the score, 157.53. First in the free, of course, with the 233.50 total competition score, and he takes over first place. One skater to come. The pressure is on this next young man. This is where you learn. Are you the hunted or are you the hunter? And this is a good experience, even if it's not. We'll see how he fights through being the final skater in the lead, but hearing that score, not easy.
And there he is with Hyunseo Choi, the coach, is taking his time. Habin Choi performed a short program where there were 63 inputs in grade of execution from the judges, and 61 of them were positive. So it was a wonderful, wonderful short program for this skater. He has a little bit of a margin. That said, he will need to deliver if he's going to take the title. He intends, based on the planned program content at least, to start with the most difficult jumping pass that we've seen, quad lutz, and just there initiating that takeoff, making sure that he is mentally and physically prepared to deliver as he performs to Dead Man Tell No Tales. Korea's Habin Choi delivered. That was a fascinating example, I think, of a way in which to embrace competitivity, because Habin Choi absolutely motored a million miles an hour into that quad loops and looked like he had a real fight to try to take the title. Anything that he heard from the score of the leader Taiga Nishino, he looked like he used it as ammunition and fuel.
Yeah, totally.
It went awry in a couple of places, but not for the lack of effort.
Some people would scare off. It did. It just simply fueled him even that much more.
Yeah, there was zero hesitation in that performance.
Whee.
What an opening quad. Let's open that program. Followed up by this quad toe.
And that's on the quarter
combo.
Yeah.
It's interesting as we look at this triple toe, Jason, just to then remember, and this is where the judges have to work so hard at ensuring that they are giving really detailed analysis of the components and the grades of execution, because both men, could something like that be the difference, because that forces the negative GOE against the likes of Taiga Nishino, who was so clean in his delivery.
No, very true. I mean, the way that our system is run and the way that the scores, even when judges sit down, they look at the breakdown of component marks, and you get docked for these certain errors, the trips, the falls, the rough execution of certain elements. They start to slowly dock your component marks. So it does kind of, it's a teeter there.
Yeah, the juggle.
Well, out of those 11 elements, there are 7 that were under review. If they've almost finished the review, and he's in the kiss and cry, kind of looking like unsure as to whether this is enough. And I'm pretty sure it is.
He actually has.
He took the fall. Well, that was the fall on the steps.
The fall, but also he has a late start. So he's got a 1 point deduction because he must have taken longer than 30 seconds to find his start position.
Oh, wow.
And we are just looking at the scores as it is incredibly close. You don't want that to be the reason for not taking the title. However, we're just about to see one more level being assessed by the tech panel currently. It's the flying camel combo spin. It's in at a level 4. The technical panel, if this changes, this will change the result.
This will change the result, exactly. Right now, he's hoping it doesn't change.
He needs a 155.75 to be able to maintain his lead. And we are waiting to see what will the
technical panel. Let me just listen.
Oh. And the grades of execution still being input, so there's a slight deviation. So we can tell you right now live that Habin Choi has gone from winning the competition to potentially not winning it, as we await now the final inputs from the judges for the program component scores.
Wow, that's because we can listen to the technical panel, we can watch what's happening here. It was ever so close. The detail in which they analyzed that last spin, which did change, by the way, was incredible. And that they don't know. They have no idea whether that's going to impact or whatever. They're just analyzing the detail of that one particular element. And we'll see what this number comes up as. But that last review, I think, had impact, Mark.
So I wasn't listening to the panel, but I assume V has now gone on the flying camel combo spin, so not all of the positions were established within the 3 different positions camel sit and upright. So
and that does affect that score, but we'll see overall as they anxiously wait. And correctly so, he's going, I don't know, is this enough? But I don't think he knows about the spin.
No.
He knows about the trip, but not the spin. We'll see.
And then
154.43. That is second in the free program with a total competition score 232.19. Wow, that was so close. It came down to that last spin, and it changed from a title to a silver. There it is.
Wow.
Oh, that was nail-biting.
Yeah, I mean, it was a challenging event up until the last moment, up until the last few skaters. Wow, ever so close.
They look like they're having a good laugh about it.
Yeah,
love that.
That's great. Jason, it's been so great to have you. Any final thoughts of encouragement and for the young skaters that are listening to this and the young skaters that we have just watched?
Honestly, just keep on focusing on doing the best that you can and continue to push yourselves. as you are in this stage of development. I just think the Junior Grand Prix are such an awesome time to gain experience, meet other competitors, travel the world, doing what you love, and just really kind of building that foundation for your future in the sport. And I just wish everyone the very, very best. I am supporting you guys 100% all the way. And it's been amazing to watch and get to not only commentate a little bit with you guys, but cheering you guys on from afar. And just know that I want all the athletes to also know that people around the world, younger athletes than even they are, comrades, friends, are watching and cheering you guys on as well. Something that was just so heartwarming to see even this week is everyone at the cricket club where I train in Toronto stopped on Thursday to watch some of the men compete their short programs. Like the whole session stopped and all the coaches and all the speeders went over to watch and cheer their teammates on. So it's just to see that, it was so heartwarming, and just keep enjoying it and know that we're all here every step of the way.
Well, Jason, it's been such an honor, and an honor for us to be able to speak with you.
Absolutely.
And for the skaters to be able to hear you, because you are, you're on the top up there, and people look up to you so much. And for you to spend the time to give them some encouragement and to remember your days in junior and help them along that journey is a real privilege for them, and it's a terrific gesture on your part. We thank you very much for spending the time there. We wish you the best of luck. We're going to be following you throughout the year, and maybe even Mark will be commenting on the Senior Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? In which case, then, because the juniors are all probably sick of me trying to get quotes from them, just know, Jason, you two will be pestered for a quote before the Senior Grand Prix.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I look forward to talking to you soon. I can't wait to get on that ice and start competing this year.
Thank you so much. That concludes our coverage of the men's free program. Up next will be the women's free program, 36 entries. That'll start local time here at 16:20. For all of us here at the ISU, for Mark Hanratty, I'm Ted Barton, Jason Brown, thank you for watching. I hope you'll join us for the women's free.